So how exactly do you play Tongo? You'll find out right after this. Hey everybody, I'm Taylor from Beard vs. Geek, where I show you how it is okay to be a man and a geek at the same time. Today we are going to Warp 5 and we're talking about Tongo. Tongo is a gambling game invented by the Ferengi and is very popular with pretty much all Ferengi, and they have a giant tournament on Ferenginar every single year. Of course, the women have their own league in the basement, but you know, they're welcome to play as well. During the show Deep Space Nine, the rules for Tongo were never actually created, leading to several inconsistencies within the show, which really bugged Armin, who played Quark. Now, Tongo itself seems to be played with two little decks of cards, as well as a wheel. In the middle of the wheel is a bowl where you can put your latinum. This is a game for 2 to 8 players, where each player has a hand of 4 cards, and on one of the 8 slices in the Tongo wheel, there are 3 cards on it, one starting face up, the other 2 face down. On your turn, you can do one of several different actions, and depending on the action, you can take kind of a half an action. It just kind of depends. For example, the biggest action seems to be acquire. You acquire a venture at the price determined by the previous player. You pay that to the middle, and then you take your action. You can either turn over one of the cards in front of you, leading to more opportunities, or you can swap out one of the cards in your hand. After you perform an acquire action, you can change the terms for the next person. For example, you can state the sell price. So if I'm doing an acquire action, I can say buy at 40 and put my latinum in the middle, and I can change out a card or turn a card over on the table and then sell at 50. That means that the next person, if they want to perform an acquire action, they need to buy at 50. Now I could also do little things like indexing the margins or indexing the exchange. Now indexing is a real financial term that basically says it's a measurement of what something is worth. And a margin equals the acquire minus the sell. Now, indexing the exchange means that if someone needs to do an exchange, they need to put in that whatever percentage you say into the middle. So for example, if I were to say I'm indexing the margin at 20% or I'm indexing the exchange at 10%, that 20% or that 10% is going to affect what another player does. Now, another action you can do is to exchange. That basically means to take a card that is face up on your little wedge of the wheel and exchange it for one of the cards face up on the left or on the right. Of course, in order to do this, you need to put in your percentage into the middle. On your turn, you can also perform another action called converting your reserves. Converting your reserves is basically like adding money to the game. You have the money outside of the game that you held in reserve to cover your potential risks while playing the game, and to convert them means that you make them into active funds within the game itself. So that's all about the acquire and the exchange actions. There are a couple other actions that you can do on your turn. For example, you can confront. Confronting is basically saying that you believe that what is in your hand and what is on the wedge in front of you, that those cards are going to be better than anyone else's combination of cards. Remember, you have access to the cards in your hand and the cards on the table in order to make sets. And finally, the last action you can do on your turn is to evade. To evade basically is kind of like passing on your turn. Now, for example, if a person indexes the margin at an amount that is too high for that is unacceptable, or their sell price is too high, you can perform an evade action. Basically means that you bring those back down to the baseline, whatever the buy-in of the game is. And then, at the end of any of these actions, you spin the wheel, changing the opportunities for everyone on the board. You win by having the best combination of cards within your hand and on the table in front of you in your little eighth of a wheel. We do know that a couple combinations involve a full consortium, and ideally, the best one of all, a total monopoly. Nothing can beat a total monopoly, that's why it's called a total monopoly.
You have absolutely no idea how this game is played, do you?
No.
So let me know what you think about Tongo in the comment section down below, and for some more awesome manliness and geekiness, you can click right here, because after all, if the women don't find you manly, they should at least find you geeky. And until next time, beard on, bro.